What's going on, you guys? My name is Shiraz Ahmed, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a hot topic for investors, which is passive income. Alright, so passive income is a commonly used term that's thrown out there kind of loosely. So what is it? Let's define it first. Well, it's almost exactly as it sounds, but passive income is income derived from sources that you aren't actively involved in. In the financial industry, a commonly used term to refer to income from investments is known as yield. Yields are typically expressed as a percentage based off of the amount that you ultimately invest. And these, because again, their percentages can fluctuate. All right, so passive income. Why is this idea even important? Well, eventually we will all stop working, whether it's through your choice, through something like retirement, or unfortunately, like millions of people around the world right now due to COVID, sometimes this isn't your choice. So if you have an income stream from any source other than your earned income or what you do every day for a living, this can really come in and save the day. So to kind of put this into context, if you, let's say, buy an investment for $100 and that investment is paying you a 5% income or yield, then you get a $5 a year in income for simply being an investor. So to kind of draw out this example, if you had a portfolio of investments, let's say worth $100,000, and that portfolio is giving you that same 5% income or yield, then that's almost $5,000 per year for literally sitting on the couch being an investor. Sounds like a pretty good deal? Well, it is. So investing for income has become really popular in recent years. And there's a lot of good reasons for this, but it kind of started really getting mainstream after books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out, and where Robert Kiyosaki, the author, started talking about how you conceptually realize your gain at time of purchase, not necessarily a time of sale, which kind of takes the whole concept of speculation out of the equation for a lot of people. I, for one, spent a lot of time playing one of the games he made called Cash Flow, which, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is kind of like Monopoly, but like on super steroids. So if you've ever played the game, one of the interesting things about it is the object is to exit the rat race, and that's kind of how you win. And in order to exit the rat race, you actually need the income from your investments to be double your monthly expenses. And in the game, you're actually randomly dealt occupations. So it's actually a really good way for someone to learn how to become kind of savvy cash flow based investor, regardless of what your background or economics means are. Okay, so what are some common sources of passive income? Well, the three big ones that you'll hear most people talk about are rental income from real estate, dividends from stocks, and income from businesses that you aren't actively involved in. So for the purposes of this video, let's dig into a bit deeper into one of them, which is income from real estate and how you can actually use real estate to earn passive income. There are a couple common ways which people use real estate to generate income. The first and probably the most obvious way is that you can actually just go out and purchase a property. And ideally you have that property tenanted, and the rent that the tenant pays ultimately covers not only the mortgage and other expenses, but hopefully also gives you positive cash flow. So in big cities like in Toronto and New York, it's a bit harder to do this, frankly, without putting down a pretty significant down payment. But this is a really tried and tested method for creating cash flow for yourself. When buying real estate, borrowing upwards of 80% of the value of the property is actually pretty common. And as I went over in a previous video, I'll kind of link it up here, I think our relationship with real estate is a bit skewed due to the mechanism and how it's actually priced and how infrequently it's traded. Now, many people like the idea of diversifying their risk from a single property and have gravitated towards investment securities like REITs as an alternative to buying a single property. A real estate investment trust, or REIT, is a company that owns, operates, or finances income-generating real estate. They're similar in nature to a mutual fund. REITs pool their capital from numerous investors. This makes it possible for individual investors to earn dividends from real estate investments without necessarily having to buy, manage, or finance any properties directly themselves. The major benefit of REITs are that they're fairly stable income streams and have historically been diversified with tens and in some cases even hundreds of properties inside a portfolio. So in addition to that, REITs are also super liquid investments, and many of them can actually also be bought on the secondary market, similar to that of a stock. So another interesting alternative to both REITs and direct properties is that you can actually consider buying what's called a mortgage investment corporation. A MIC, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, are special entities allowed under the Section 130.1 of the Canadian Income Tax Act. Similar to REITs, MICs allow individuals to pool their funds and invest their capital in mortgage loans, benefiting from the risk mitigation and the diversification that having a large portfolio brings. Basically, they look, smell, and behave kind of like a stock traded on the TSX, but in reality, they are baskets of mortgages. So of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. A cautionary note about MICs is that they're not immune to market forces. And like many other investments, they can be subject to the whole baby in the bathwater syndrome, and a phenomenon where good investments can actually be taken down by irrational selling. Another thing specifically about MICs is that they're actually typically fairly thinly traded securities, which means they have pretty low volume on the market. And even modest purchases or sells can actually push the price of the stock around. So something to be mindful of. So to summarize, passive income is created by income sources that you aren't actively involved in. So in your mind, think rental income. Historically, people have purchased single-family homes, or in some cases, if they have the means to do so, apartment buildings. And ultimately, this is used to help generate passive income. In more recent years, securities like REITs and MICs have been able to help investors get exposure to real estate without having to go through the hassle of buying a property directly. Now, on a high level, that sort of summarizes investing for passive income using real estate as your primary asset class. But I'd love to hear about other passive income solutions that you've been using in your portfolio. Please drop me a line. I'll put my contact info at the end of this video. And again, I'll be uploading another piece of content next week. So if you hit the bell icon, you'll actually be notified the next time I actually upload. And if you do value the content that I'm creating, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And until next time, stay safe out there and happy investing.